Alrighty. So today I'm going to talk about my recent silver trade that I did. I shorted it and just wanted to talk about how I could have done better, how I could have made more money, and what caused me to short it on the particular day that I did. So these past couple of weeks, I've been seeing silver being talked about more and more on my Twitter feed. Um, that's where I kind of see these parabolic moves. Other than the fact that it moved along with gold, and I did a study on this, and I saw it break out, but I still did, I saw it break out and I didn't touch it. But anyways, other than that, I saw it on my feed and I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it, and then I was sitting here and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait for it to like gap and then just take off, or like I wanted to see it get really extended. And then on Friday, um, the 26th, I'm on my feed, I'm on Twitter, and I'm like, everyone, literally everybody's talking about silver, and it's just like people doing write-ups about silver and how physical and deliveries and ex fund managers and all these people that are in this field and futures traders and metals traders doing write-ups on silver and what it could do, what it could happen, what could possibly happen. Um, it's just like everything was about silver. And then I saw it, had a record day, like up 10% a single day, like the most volume, this and that. And I was like, okay, I think this is the time. Not only that, like it's first off, it's had the biggest day ever. It's gapped up huge overnight. It gapped up like 4%, almost 4%. And then it had a 10% day. Obviously, this is not like it's to scale, but then it had like a 10% day. It was up 10% a single day. The biggest move silver's ever made in its entire life, from what I was seeing on Twitter. And I thought this has to be the top because literally everybody was like, it's kind of like it reminded me of like GameStop when obviously it's just completely different scale, but everybody was talking about silver. Everyone was buying silver. I actually bought silver back in 2020. Um, so I watched like a couple YouTubers who are into silver and they go to they film at coin shops and stuff like that, and they're just talking about silver and the silver mania and this and that. And as I'm watching these videos, I see like it's just everyone it's all new people. Like it's all new. Like, oh, first time buying silver, first time buying silver. Yeah, I'm gonna get into the rush. Oh, silver's gonna go to 100. Um, and I was like, this is just like how gold was um, during this time here, right? And during this time, I mean, just a bunch of new people buying gold, bunch of new people going into the frenzy. People are missing out. FOMO. They want to buy silver at any price possible. Fiat currency is worthless. Inflation. I mean, just any excuse to buy silver. Um, whether it be fiat currency is worthless or whatever the hell the excuses were. It was just insane. And I was like, I've never seen this before. I have gold and maybe GameStop or AMC too. And I said, okay, silver is having the greatest day of its life. It's time to short. How much more extended can this be? And mind you, it could have gone more extended, but a 10% move on a move at a stock or something that's already up, 50 plus percent. I don't know what the actual futures was, but I think it's like over 120% in the year, 150% in the year, something like that. I said I got to pull the trigger, and a big factor was that it was Friday, right, going into the weekend. Now I didn't really. This was like a more like a Stanley Druckenmiller type of play where he calls it invest and investigate or something like that. So that's what I did. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna short it as best as I can or as much as I can without being soft. Ended up being soft. Anyways, just to short it and then I'll investigate later. So right by the time I see silver, it's I think it's like 15 minutes before the close on Friday, and I was like, okay, this thing is just keeps going up, and it just wouldn't stop moving. And then I was looking up like names, like what's the best? Because I saw silver, obviously, the SLV, and I was like 3.16. I don't like the ADR. So then I found AGQ, and I was like, okay, 6 ADR, yeah, this is great. So, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, okay, couple things. Most volume in recent time on a green day um, for silver. I think it was like 70 something mil or 60 something million contracts in a single day for the futures. Like I think it was record setting, right? So there's one tick, record setting. Like I'm looking for capitulation, right? Extended move. I see record setting futures in a single day. Mind you, each future is like $29,000 for a contract, and there's 63 million contracts that were traded. I think that's the number. I could be wrong. Uh, that's a lot of that's a ton of money. I don't know how many billions that is, right? And then it's the biggest move in a single day. Um, I'm looking at social media. Everyone's talking about it. New people are talking about it. People that I've never seen before talk about it. Um, my family's starting to talk about it. And then I'm looking at these YouTube videos, and I see just so many new people buying silver. They have no idea. Like they don't even know what a silver dollar is, a silver round, a 10-ounce bar, a kilo. Like I was into this back in 2020, so I know like what's silver eagles, maple leaves, silver maple leaves from Canada, the Australian ones. Anyways, and they're like, yeah, I just want to buy anything. And these shelves at these YouTube places or YouTube places at these coin shops, the shelves were empty of silver, empty. And then there was people trading silver for gold. I mean, I guess they're doing it because of ratio or something like that. But like just insane. I'm like, this is it. Like this has got to be the top. So I look at AGQ, and I'm like, okay. I mean, not only that, but silver was leading to a whole number. It was leading to 80, which is like pretty significant whole number. Um, Not only if is it a whole number, but it's 80, right? It's like a tens. It's even number. It's a 10. It's part of the tens. It's a lot of psychological numbers. Anywho, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I gotta pull the trigger now, or else I know I'm not gonna pull it. And my thought process was, I have to do it today because it's gonna gap down over the weekend. And I don't know what told me to do with the gap down, but I think it's from studying. A couple of these parabolics that I have in these in my database. Every single one that I've seen so far, I think there wasn't really a parabolic this year that, in my opinion, from what I've studied, that gave you that blow off top, gap up next day, and then sold off. They gapped down. I don't know. I mean, if you look at gold here, right? It gaps down overnight. Maybe this day here, but this wasn't. This is the top here, right? It gaps down overnight. That's when your short is. If you look at ELBM, right, this is when the metals and minerals are going crazy too. It gaps down overnight. What else? What other names do I have here? WWR. These names they just gap down. I think Circle was another name. See, like this has a blow off and it gaps down the next day. I mean, it just nothing. I don't think anything. I could be wrong. Has given you that blow off, gap up in the morning, gap up overnight, and then you short it right at the open. I mean, look at BMNR. Same thing. Gaps down overnight. They all gap down. So I'm like, okay, this year so far on these parabolic tops that I've seen, they all gap down. Even this one was actually pretty nice, but Circle was one. Was CoreWeave another? Oops. So CoreWeave, same thing. I guess you could say here gaps down. Even here gaps down. I mean, I think most like even here, if you wanted to short this, quick parabolic here, if you counted that one, it just gaps down. All these parabolic tops, all these short, what am I trying to say? Opportunities, they all gap down. Now maybe UAMY has been like the only really blow off top that I've seen so far that I've looking back into my notes. CRML, kind of, but you see it gaps down. It kind of was break even on the day. A lot of movement, but gaps down the next day. This one was not a bad one, but looking at all these examples, it was just like a gap down overnight. Like it just wouldn't give you the opportunity to short like on like UAMY right here, where it gaps up, blow off top, and then you short it on the right in the morning. These were all like the move happened overnight. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I did. So I was talking to myself. I said, okay, you have to short it today because it's going to gap down over the weekend. That's just what the trend has been for the year. And I'm a trend follower, and the participants in the market do not change. I mean, the participants in the market do change, but um, for this year, I mean, it's only been a year, so I'm sure there's the people that are trading in the beginning of the year, are still the same people now, uh, or for this season. I'm sorry, but there wasn't anything that I really saw. I looked through my notes, at least the ones that I have or that I remembered, that gave you that blow off top. They always gap down the next day. So I said, okay, I'm gonna short AGQ. I'm gonna short AGQ. At the time I saw it, it was 198, 198.30. So I got my average was 198.30. I shorted 100 shares on my personal trading account, and then I shorted another 25 shares on my brother's account. I told him, I was like, how much you want to do? He was a little scared. He was soft, whatever. Now, if this would have been, um, if this wouldn't have been into the weekend, I would have probably doubled or tripled my size, because knowing that I have, the night session or in the morning session the next day, um, to come in and either hedge either on Robinhood because there's futures on there and they have a 24-hour market, or I can just get out the next day. This was over the weekend, so I kind of pulled back a little bit on the size. Rather, I only did 100 shares rather than 200 or 300 shares, which is what I really wanted to do. And then over the weekend, I'm just studying silver and then platinum and seeing how those are doing. Um, just like studying everything that I can. Like invest and then investigate, like Stanley Druckenmiller says. But I knew that silver was way too extended, um, based off just technical analysis as well, and just the hype. There was so much hype around it. Everybody wanted silver. It was a silver rush, silver fever. Everyone wanted silver. And I said, you know what? I'm shorting it. I'm gonna take the chance. I thought the risk reward was there. Well, I fully thought, I fully understood like the risk reward is there. The odds are this is gonna gap down the next morning or it's gonna go down the next morning. So I short 100 shares of AGQ at 198.30, and then I bought options. Now, mind you, I kind of fucked up these options pretty badly, and I also fucked up the cover on this too. But I'll go to that right now. So I bought options. I'm looking at this chart, and I think, okay, so this is what I see. I say, okay, this chart is pretty extended. This is like a leverage ETF of silver. This thing could easily go down to 150. At the time, this is the 10-day moving average. I said 150 easily. This can pull back 150. So I look at the options. I go, all right. I don't want it to be this week. I wanted it to be next week. Why? Because I just wanted to give myself some time. So okay, $150 puts, right? These are all worthless. That's why they're. But let's see these. So they were. Let's see. 1 day, week. Hello. I think it froze. Hold on. There we go. $150 puts. Let's do a week. Guess this is a week. Yeah. So, I mean, earlier today they were worth like $6, and same thing here, $6. But I bought, January week 2, January 9th puts. So I bought here. So at the time I bought them, they were worth like 570. And I bought 10 contracts. Also, once again, there was a risk of if this does gap up overnight, I think they just would be like half the value they once were. So I sold about 5 of them at like $11, cashed them in the next day. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting too ahead of myself. So I bought them for 570. It wasn't that much volume on these, but anyways. So I bought them for 570. I did 10 contracts. I was like, okay, I could do more. But once again, there was that risk of gapping up over the weekend. And the big play was the weekend. The weekend is what's kind of like, pulled back the risk a little bit. So I bought them for 570, 10 contracts. All right. Let's go back to this. Let's delete this shit. What the hell is this? Okay, there we go. So I get into my position. Shorted 100 shares. I bought some options. And then now it's just time to wait. over the weekend. I'm just studying, whatever, blah blah blah. Looking at silver, looking at YouTube videos of all these YouTubers, silver stackers, whatever, silver stackers, and I come to my conclusion that I think I made the right choice. Because I'm seeing people, oh, silver to 100 next week. Silver is trading at $95 in Asia, Shanghai, blah blah blah, this and that. In Dubai is rumors, and then Sunday, like a rumor, oh, a bank is blowing up. I'm like, this is all bullshit. This is all fake. This is like hype. This is mania. This is what people do. They create rumors, and like it was like some random account that had wrote a post about a bank blowing up. It's a really well known bank. This and that. Like, they won't even name the bank. This bunch of BS. That's why I don't pay attention to social media. But it also gave me like a proxy to understand where people's heads were at. And these people were just silver this, silver that. Oh, I'm buying silver. I'm buying. Everyone was buying silver. Okay, this is the top. This is it. So it gave me more confidence over the weekend. And then futures opened up at 3 o'clock on Sunday for me, and I'm like, fuck. It goes from it gaps up to like 81 and then 82. But on my Robinhood account, I couldn't trade futures. I don't know why I've been trying to trade the futures. That's why I bought options because I was trying to trade the futures, but they wouldn't let me. I got to talk to them. Something's wrong. But I wanted to buy futures or short the futures. And then I saw it at 81 and then 82, and I okay, this is the initial push after everyone's putting in their orders to buy silver. This is the hype. This is the mania. People having futures accounts. People buying this. People buying that. This is, this is the push. Everyone's trying to get their orders in, trying to buy silver before the market opens up Monday. And I see it at 81, 82, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm getting a little nervous. I'm like, shit. Did I make the wrong decision? And then I keep watching it, and then it just kind of loses steam. Like the initial 6% move that I had. I was like, okay, it's starting to slow down. It's starting to slow down pretty significantly. And I was thinking about shorting it on the futures, but obviously I couldn't trade the futures. Oh well. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, look away, come back later before I go to bed, see what it's at. And then I come back, I look, it's at like 75, 74. I was like, oh shit, okay, this is doing good. It's doing great. So then I wake up. I didn't want to wake up early, like at 5:30, like I usually do, hour before the market opens. Because I don't want to fuck up any covers. Like I wanted to be like, if this is gonna go down, let it go down. Don't catch it on the way down on your buys. So, um, I wake up 10 minutes before the open because I was like, okay, whatever I do, either I show up an hour early or I show up an hour late. Oh, I'm sorry, or on market time, open up. I wake up at market time. It's not gonna change the fact of what silver's doing. So no matter what I do, silver's gonna be where silver's gonna be. So then I look and then I see AGQ at like 166. I was like, what the fuck? Or at 165. I was like, holy shit. And then right when the market opened, my options, boom, they went from 570 to like 11 or $10. And I sold five off immediately. Boom. I just sold five off immediately. I was like, okay, I gotta take some risk off. But then I debated to hold the rest. Anyways, let's go back. Okay. Market opens. I see AGQ at 165. I was like, holy shit. I see silver like at 72. I was like, or 73. I was like, holy, what the? I was like, okay, it worked. It's working. Finally, I have a trade that works. Anyways, so let's get this on the 15-minute chart. Market opens and I immediately cover. Sorry, hold on. Let me actually do this for you guys, or for myself. I'm going to go on Trader View, import my trade, and this I can show you what it looked like. I already have an account, sorry. I fucked up when I'm doing that. Anyways. Here it is. Let's do the 2-minute chart, sorry. So, market opens, and there's an initial push down. So I cover like right at 165, 163. I covered, how many shares did I cover? I think I covered 50 of my shares at like 165, right when the market opens. Okay, let me get out, because that's, 198. Out here. That was like a 17% move already. I was like, oh, holy, let me cover half. Boom, covered half. And I was like, okay, what I'm gonna wait for is I'm gonna wait for some consolidation and hopefully move to the downside so I can add. So I'm sitting here, I see this initial push. And I'm like, okay. We set in like a high of the day so far, and then I see it kind of get weak under VWAP, comes back up, pushes like it kind of stalled at VWAP for a little bit. I mean a little bit is like a couple seconds, literally like a couple seconds. I just had to be more patient, and I was like, okay. I covered some more like at 167, I think. Yeah. So I'm at 25 shares, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking put it all on the line. So I put 200 shares. I shorted 200 shares at like 166. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna use high of day 169 as a get out, as a way to get out. So I'm sitting there, I get in, and I'm like, fuck, dude, you've done this before, where you're into like you have a nice short, and then I try to reshort it, and it's too early. What I should have done is put my order up at high of day, which like typically you should do, not midway. This is like a mid range, to do it at high of day, and then give it a few bucks. So by the time I covered, so by the time I was here, I had 25 or $2,400 realized, and 700 or $800 unrealized, right? So I was like, okay, fuck, greed. This is where greed and FOMO took over. So I shorted 200 shares, and I put my stop at high of day, and I got stopped out. I walked away with another $100, so I ended up walking away with $2,500. And then, so what I really wanted was for this to happen, this fail under VWAP and then failure to happen here, but I just needed a little bit more patience. So I got screwed on that. I woke up, and when I woke up and I went to my computer, I was up $3,300 realized. So I was like, okay, this is big. This is great. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, and then so I was out of that trade already, um, by like 6:50 in the morning, 20 minutes after the open, and then I still had half of my options, and then it gaps up overnight, and as I should have expected, there's a bounce. There's gonna be a bounce, right? But I was treating this more as like a hype stock, like a shitty stock that has like no revenue, like where it sinks 40, 50%, in one day. Um, Not realizing this is like, there's real people actually buying silver out there. They see it go from 82 to 72. They're like, oh, this is a bargain. So they buy it right up. So this is what this initial bounce is. Um, they just bought it all right back up, or the shorts getting kind of squeezed out a little bit here. Ones that were shorting on the way down. And then I'm seeing this yesterday, and my brother's texting me. He's like, "Oh, did you see silver?" Because he had a couple shares left over. And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." So when the market opened, my options went from what $10 a day before to back down to 550, and they were trading at 470, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm down money." So I sold out of them, or I bought them back. No, yeah, I sold out of them because I bought puts. So I sold out of them, and then like an idiot, I don't know why I just didn't trust myself, or just I know this. I know there's a bounce that's gonna happen. I just didn't realize, that it was gonna happen so quickly, or what I was really trading. I'm trading like a real metal. It's a real thing. It's not a company, so it's gonna trade slightly different. Especially with retail really wanting to buy this thing. So I basically, and it was crazy because like I literally right when I think it got to like 180, I was like, all right, I'm out. I sold out of my options. Then it goes up to 192, and I was like, okay, good, thank God. Then I look back at the close, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's all the way back down to, you don't see it here, but when I saw it, it was like 176. I was like, you motherfuckers. Like, idiot, though. Like, that's my dumbass. Like, that's my fault for not realizing what I'm trading. This is not like a regular, shitty stock. This is like a real asset that people are willing to buy. And it doesn't, it's not going to trade like like this, like a UAMY. Um, like one of these, what I'm saying, where it just sinks. There's gonna be a bounce. So yeah, I screwed that up. I could have actually bought back the options I had yesterday. Now they're like 10, $12 again. I showed you guys this earlier. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of screwed it up. They gave me two chances, and then this was kind of like a let's go to AGQ or SLV. I was looking at the options, and this is like a double top. You know what I'm saying? Like it rejected this pretty hard too. I mean, this was on a roll. I mean, to be fair, I can't say like, oh, I should have known there was gonna be a bounce and it wasn't gonna hold. Um, but I guess for the future, if you're ever gonna trade a metal, wait for a bounce after it goes down. But I mean, like this here, you see this range that was built here? It breaks out of that range, and it looks strong. I mean, I was a little nervous too. I was like, oh shoot, are we gonna get a move all the way back to 79, 80, 81? And then it just something happened. I don't know if they raised the margins again, but I mean, it just collapsed and then gaps down overnight once again, as these trades have always done. And now I'm sitting here like, what's $4 away from my options that I bought here, and it's due next week. Damn it. So overall, I walked away with up $4,600. This should have been a $7,000 trade, maybe more, maybe 10,000. But it is what it is. This is how I traded silver, and this is how I fucked it up. There's always lessons. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I could have traded this more perfectly, honestly, in terms of where my entry was. Entry, perfect. Perfect entry. Exits, on the initial exits, my first exits, I think those are perfect. I simply do. Because, I mean, I basically got a 17% move overnight, if you don't count the weekend, if you just look at it trading days. Like, that is nuts, right? I mean, I sold out all right here at 165, half of my options and my shares. What I should have done is, no, I don't know what I should have done. I have to sit here and think what I should have done. Re-added to my short position. To be fair to myself, I didn't think there was going to be a bounce. But hindsight is 2020. So thinking about this, I had to think about the asset I'm trading. It's silver. There was people waiting in line out the doors on these coin shops, on these gold and silver shops, to buy it Monday morning, to buy the dip. So hell yeah, there's gonna be a bounce, and then all the people that were chasing the short down this way, they got to cover the way back up. So it's not like a regular stock in terms of the fact of something like this, right? Like no bounce, bounce later. Fig, just straight liquidation. What are the big runners were there? Was MSTR a big runner this year? I don't think so. There was. Okay, MSTR. Oh, that was 2024. But see, this is what I was talking about. When in terms of like a parabolic short, like this is gap up, it gaps up, has a move, and then gaps up again, and then just fails. There wasn't really that many this year. But anyways, yeah, completely forgot what I was talking about. I think I was talking about like shorts. Yeah, let's see. CRML. See, just sinks like a rock. There's not really a bounce other than like on the second day, because these are not real companies. Like they don't really have real money. Like these are all hype. You know what I mean? Same thing with Circle. What about CoreWeave? CoreWeave, kind of same thing. Just kind of sinks like a rock. Other than I guess maybe this time here, it did give a bounce, but 3 days later, 2 days later. So that's something I had to take into consideration next time is the asset I'm trading. I guess this is like a one-off on the assets I typically trade, so I don't really know. But even here, look at this. Like this sold off heavily. Anyways, yeah, when it's I don't know. I have to review this in depth, but maybe I should have sold puts. No, sold calls. I don't know. But yeah, I gotta review this and see like how to trade the bounce next time. Usually when there's a bounce, it's intraday. So that's why I was trading it here. Like my idea was, right, since I'm so used to trading these, hype names, hype stocks that don't really have these big bounces all the way back to the top, to the highs, unless it's intraday. They usually like they'll have a big range, kind of like this, and then they'll just fail again. So I think there's. Do I have anything here in my studies to show what a good one looks like? Maybe CoreWeave. Let's see, or Circle. Let's see. Let me look at my notes for Circle. I forgot you guys couldn't see my notes, so I was looking at my notes here this whole time like an idiot. Um, Here we go. It's a good one. Yeah, I think Circle had it. So kind of like this, right? Well, this is like the day after. Like, see, so this is a kind of I have to zoom in here, but let me go back up. So this is day four. So day four is here, right, on the gap down, right? Like I said, how some of these stocks they don't give you that blow off top like MSTR gave you back in 2024. They would gap down overnight. So if you look at this intraday, right, it gaps down. So this is the close, whatever. Gaps down, pops back up. No, sorry, yeah, it gaps down. Sorry, whoa, what the hell was that? It gaps down slightly because it gave back the rest intraday. Anyways, but you see how it kind of builds this range here, and then collapses. Now this is like a very different style of trading, right? This is a hard set level here. But either way, they all kind of do the same thing. They build a range here and then they collapse. I think GameStop did the same thing. Let me look up GameStop. The big squeeze. Here we go. Do I have any intraday charts of this? If I don't, I should probably freaking get some. Day four. Okay, here we go. Do I have any intraday charts? Come on, buddy. Don't. Do you? You don't, you idiot. You freaking idiot. Oh man, I don't. Anyways, sorry. But nonetheless, they have a range intraday. Like they'll build a range here like this, and then they'll collapse again. So that's what I was waiting for. But I guess it didn't happen. So this is my review of silver. I'm trying to um, get my third-party brokerage where I can sign in and I can show you the full trade and how I messed it up. Let's see. Let's see if I can import trades. Here we go, import trades. I know you guys can't see this, but I don't want you guys to know my information. All right? So get off me. Okay, let's see if it comes in. Alrighty, here we go. AGQ, $2,500. All right, so this was the trade. Exit efficiency 47%. See, it was like half and half. So if you look at it here, right, this is the the day leading up. And mind you, my stop was at 205. So I was looking at this post market. I was scared as hell. I was like, oh fuck, it's already at 204. Son of a bitch. So I'm gonna stop that already. So you can see I shorted it here, right before the close. I think it has my. Look at this. So my initial entry was on 12/26 at 198.33. See, I wasn't lying, right? And then it just collapses over the day. So you can see in the morning, I get out right when the market opens. Actually, I waited a little bit. I actually wanted to see what it did. I wanted to see if it was going to sell off more or if it was going to pop up back up again. So as you can see here, I took some off at 164. How many did I take off? I took off 50 shares right here. See, 50 shares at 9:30. So literally three. Okay, I didn't wait for shit. Actually, that was 3 seconds after the market opened. Uh, See, it feels so much longer when you're trading though. Um, so I took some off at 164, and then I took 25 off more. 25 more shares off at 166. So as it came back up again, I was like, you know what, let me get out. Um, and so you can see, like a dummy, I reshorted it here. You can't really see it, but there's a VWAP, that orange line that I had on the other charts. Um, and then right at the top. Of course, I get stopped out right at the freaking top. This is the way the market goes. This is the way it is. Either way, I would have been here at 225. I probably would have covered some at 159, or I'm sorry, 225 shares at 160 or 165 or whatever. I probably would have made an extra thousand or two. Nah, maybe probably an extra thousand. And then yeah, so it was pretty gappy trade to be honest with you. You see this? How do I zoom the fuck out? Anyways, sorry. How do I zoom out? Anywho, you see it gaps down and it kind of goes sideways. It has a pretty big range and gaps up again overnight. It looks like it's super bullish here. It's super strong. And maybe I gotta. To be fair, I wasn't looking at the computer. To be fair, to myself, I was not looking at the computer at all. Just wasn't. And so you see, there's a range here. It builds another range and then it fails. This is your cue to get in. This it is. This is what I was talking about when I had to review this. This is what I had to see. This is what I should have been looking for. See now this, right? This is the same setup as this, right? It builds a range here. You see it tops out 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then it finally breaks through this level. Same thing here. There's some resistance here, breaks through, but it comes right back down underneath it. Resistance, resistance, fails. That's your cue to get in. You get in on this breakdown below this level here. Because as you can see here, if you look at the reverse, support, support, support here again, support, kind of hold it, fails. And that's when you get in again. That's when you short the bounce again. There it is. That's my review. I just did it right here in front of you guys. Or in front of myself. But so yeah, this is the review on silver. Screwed it up. I mean, this, like I said, this should have been like a $10,000 trade. At least. No, okay, let's say not at least. But yeah. I walked away with 4,600. So not too mad. I am mad. I'm going to be honest. I am mad. But it's hard to, I mean, it's hindsight, right? It's hindsight. Like, what if it did? What if it did just go straight down like I thought it was? Then I'd be like genius. I'd be like, oh yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. This you traded it perfectly. But you can't trade every trade perfectly, so it is what it is. But yeah, that's it for me. Um, that's it for the review for now. I might have to update this and go back and talk about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.